Hi, and welcome to another edition of Accelerate Remote, where we talk to founders of businesses and see how they're reacting to the challenges of the COVID crisis, and for some also it's been the bushfire crisis before that. So we're changing pace a little bit today with it and talking to a founder and one of our more experienced founders of a business here called Enware. And Jason, we'd like you to introduce yourself and to tell us a little bit about your business, and then we'll talk about how the challenges have made you change anything in your own business and the way of looking at it.
Well, thanks, Omar. Thanks for the opportunity to share our stories as well. Enware, a little bit unusual in the startup space, that we are a very mature 80-year-old manufacturer. We are actually our head office is based out of the southern parts of Sydney in Caringbah. We have we have about 20% of our local workforce from the Illawarra. We've been involved with iAccelerate for probably 5 years now from early days, and our role there, or our objective there, was to try and learn how to think like a startup, evolve the business, ensure it remains relevant and can progress to a different future, and take it away from, I guess, being a heavily product-focused, manufacturing-focused business to something that can evolve into something far more sustainable, and also has a stronger impact in benefits that can be long-lasting for everyone. In that said, we started with everything we've done around the work in iAccelerate has always been around hospitals, hospital water systems, managing hospital water systems to reduce waterborne infections or anything to do with Legionella and things like that, which led us to, I guess, relationships with AIM across the way in their material science labs. We've also extended that research into, I guess, new sensing technologies around water sensing technologies, which are all, I guess, helping us to build greater capability. Not only, I think it's not only good for Enware, but it's also good for the university that we've had a long-term relationship there. And then moving forward, we're now, since the recent pandemic, where hand washing has become, one of the three primary objectives from the government to get back to business. I guess we're using that as a strategy to try and help elevate ourselves and evolve, I guess, that business to try and capitalise, or at least enhance our offering, so we can actually improve the safety of working environments, and also commercial environments for visitors and things like that.
So it's really interesting. You're in that space where everybody was saying, wash your hands as number one. I mean, that was like, you must have thought, this is our day. Yeah. We don't have to advertise and educate people. Everybody's doing that already. But clearly, it probably had to make you rethink also the kinds of products, or how you would be selling into this new sort of evolving market that had different concerns than what you might have been addressing before. So how did you see that change, or what happened to you in your business when you saw this coming and the new advice? How did that change how you were going to express yourselves and what you were going to deliver?
The challenge for a business like ours is it has a lot of legacy. So we've been strong in the construction game, especially the commercial construction game, for a long time, and that at the moment it's still going well. So we've managed to remain open, remain operational during these times, but we know that the construction industry will eventually ease off. Therefore, we need to understand how we can create products that allow for a different customer, and the customer there is someone whose job is to try and create a safe environment for workers, for visitors. No different to someone at a university who has to make sure that when people enter, they're not going to either bring a risk with them, or make sure the risk can be made worse while there. So that's changed the way that we've done. I guess the fact that it's a different customer means we have to come up with a different solution and a different way of talking to that person. Recently we've developed a rapidly deployable sort of hand wash station. It's designed for businesses that may not have hand washing facilities out the front of their premise. They may have a tap, they may have a drain, the thing just gets dragged out, it gets connected, and all of a sudden you can actually have hand washing facilities there at the front of the premise, making sure everyone who enters at least washes their hands. Now, we know that a lot of facilities, a lot of businesses are doing that with alcohol-based hand rubs, but maybe our theory is that they have a place, but in a high traffic area, maybe like a building site, maybe in an environment where the alcohol-based hand rubs are not suitable, maybe around children, maybe in other areas that the hand washer device can fit that market as well. And I guess the change there is that product can go into a different model around hiring and having relationships with hire agencies like Canards and Coates, which are completely different for Enware, and end user type facility management teams. And I guess that's something that's been exciting for us and a bit of a challenge too. It's because it's a different customer for our salespeople to talk to.
Just the supply chain challenges that you might have faced during this time. Yeah.
That's a really important point there, because when we started that project, we realised that there was no end in sight around COVID. So when we were developing that, what we call the Wheelie Clean hand wash station, we had to use products that we could have access to, where we use supply chains which we knew would be operational or going well in this facility. And so we used places like Bunnings even to find and source products because we knew we could get them. IKEA, the bigger companies where they had stock in the country, where we could use that to, or we could utilise their stocks that are already in place to be able to develop products quickly. But again, the challenge there is around having a bill of materials and a design that was flexible enough that if you couldn't get a sink from, say, this place, you could adapt it quickly to a sink from there, or a wash station outlet that might be, because one of the hardest things was to get access to was the automatic soap dispensers and automatic hand towel, because we weren't a medical facility. So they were very problematic in the supply chain. And then also things like making sure, the design around the sink and the waste and all that sort of stuff was not overly expensive, because we wanted to be cost effective for the facility, but also a challenge because not everyone's got them in stock. So that was a bit of consideration there.
Yeah, so interesting. I mean, you're defining agility and agile in a different way, but saying that this is how you were able to respond, and actually, going to Bunnings to get your supply chain sorted. It was sort of an interesting way of sort of dealing with the moment. Actually, what the other thing I think it might be interesting for some of the founders who are going through some things is just to decide or to think about how what does it mean to be ready for moments like that? How do you think your business was or is ready for it, and what would you do differently now? Looking and anticipating, what might come next.
I think we're privileged in a sense because you never predict this type of thing to occur. But from a hand washing perspective, and particularly hand hygiene perspective, we were privileged to have a strong research base behind us. So we've been studying hand hygiene, particularly in clinical environments, for the last 2.5 years with Monash University and Monash Health. And I guess that's provided a whole heap of knowledge and experience around dealing with the challenges of hand hygiene. And when hand hygiene becomes a safety factor for a country, that allows you then to sort of use that experience and those learnings to try and adapt and create products and systems and services, and even marketing messages, which was another really important part of it, to help, I guess, elevate us into that space. So even talking about the importance of why hand washing with soap is important, because it annihilates the lipid bilayer of the virus, as opposed to just alcohol, which is what everyone typically uses. So soap and water is just as effective, if not more effective, for this particular virus. So sharing that knowledge is really important for us. Sharing the knowledge around contact, so contact surfaces and the science around how long the viruses can live on surfaces, particularly stainless steel and cardboard and all the common surfaces that might be around the environment. And that enhances the importance of hand washing because it can last for certain periods of time in the space. And then allowing us to then maybe capitalise on that a little bit around trying to promote no touch tapware over touch tapware. And we've even come up with some little initiatives where we can replace a traditional set of hot and cold taps that are found on site, and a little system that you can replace them with a simple no-touch tapware, which again is all around trying to improve the safety and the hygiene of those environments.
So just to close off, what would be the piece of advice that that gets you through moments of challenges like that, or something that rings in your head and say, okay, this is what we got to do? What kind of advice might you give to a founder that's been challenged, fundamentally with their business model, or even thinking about getting started with a business at this moment? What would you say to them? When it hit, we were already down. I guess we already had a plan of action in place, so we didn't just wake up and go, right, we're going to start doing this today. We were already working on some projects and doing some things, but when things really started to hit and we realised that the business could have closed, or the building industry could die down, or all these things would occur, we had to sort of say, okay, how are we going to respond to this, and how are we going to respond in a rapid way? So therefore, we just put things on hold and said, righto, we're going to go and spend 2 weeks developing a concept. We built them. We spent 1 week building a concept, and then we got that out in front of customers and said, what do you think? It was the MVP, classic MVP in customer discovery. And then we got some really good feedback. We had some really good responses from the hire guys who were desperate to find solutions as well, because they had a challenging supply chain. Everything that they buy was coming from China. So that allows us to then use their knowledge, their experience, and get that customer involved with the design of that product, and eventually got to the fact that it's out there and done. And we got it commercialised within, I think, 3 weeks. So that, for a major manufacturer, that's a challenge. So I guess have a crack and give it a chance. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's real lessons from what you went through. One is obviously the preparation ahead of time. You can't replace what you didn't do so well, but to be ready for change. And in fact, those opportunities that come out of change and even crises, sometimes are the ones that help you break through. So it's really a lot of learnings there. And Jason, we really appreciate your views, and also to see what you actually were able to do, and wish you the best success.
Well, thank you very much.
All right. This was Omar Khalifa, the CEO of iAccelerate, and this has been another edition of iAccelerate Remote. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.